Lesson 2 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Why teach financial literacy? Let's hear for a minute from Mr. Robert Kiyosaki himself, get a little better understanding of this.
So the reason I created the cash flow game with my wife, Kim, is this here. Awaken your financial genius and take control of your financial future. That's the purpose of the game. So once you understand, and this here, this is the board, this is the financial statement you play in cash flow. This is where you actually have to do it. You've put in the numbers, not hard math, it's just putting the right numbers in the right boxes and managing your cash flow.
So you just heard from Robert Kiyosaki why it's important to learn what a financial statement is. His cash flow game is an amazing game. I've taught my kids how to play. I really enjoy playing it with friends and family. And the nice thing about this is that it teaches you just another ring or rung, so to speak, of the ladder for your financial literacy. So why is it important to teach financial literacy? Because it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep and for how many generations. As Robert says, if you want to be rich, you have to be financially literate. So I'm going to show you a very simplified version of the financial statement. It's an income statement and a balance sheet. And I'll show you what the template is. And this is the template that he uses in his book. And it's very simple, very easy to understand. And it's really nice for illustrating things in the future. So the template just looks like this. If you look right here, you will see that there is the income statement above, and that has your income and your expenses, and the balance sheet below shows the assets and liabilities. And this is what a poor person's financial statement looks like. The money flows straight through from the income straight to the expenses and then back out again. So money in, money out. This is people living paycheck to paycheck. So now let me show you what a middle-class individual's financial statement looks like. This right here. So go ahead and pause the video here. Take a moment to study this and kind of get an idea of why. I'm going to touch base on what I'm going to call the pro tip later. And I'll explain why this is not as great as everyone thinks it is. Now this is what a wealthy individual or a rich person's financial statement looks like. Notice how the assets generate income. So keep that in mind as we go forward with the rest of this video. In lesson 2 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert discusses the difference between being rich and being wealthy. While making $2,000 a month may not make you rich, it could make you wealthy if your expenses are $2,000 or less a month by the definition of Buckminster Fuller. So Robert quotes Buckminster Fuller and his definition of wealth. Wealth is the ability to survive so many days forward. Or, if I stopped working, how long could I survive? This leads to wealth growing automatically like a well-established tree, especially if your sources of income are derived from assets rather than you having to trade your time. Rich Dad taught Robert and Mike accounting through pictures, adding eventually numbers after guiding them through key concepts. He wanted to help them build a foundation for a financial skyscraper, whereas as Robert likes to say in the book, that most people's foundations lead to leaning towers of suburbia. Rich Dad's rule number 1 to financial literacy is to know the difference between assets and liabilities and only buy assets. That's really all you need to know if the video ended right here. Assets put money into your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket. Now, it's simple, but it's not easy. Those who have been educated by bankers, financial planners, etc., have to unlearn what they think they know to utilize this new paradigm correctly. So let's go ahead and look at some simple illustrations here. Here is your assets adding money to your pocket, aka going into your income. And here is the illustration of liabilities going into the expenses and then leaving all together. So you can see the difference here between the two, that assets put money in your pocket and liabilities take money out of your pocket. So now for that pro tip that I promised you guys earlier. The middle class tends to think that when they buy a home, it is actually an asset. That is not the case. Your primary home is a liability unless it generates income for you. So even if you have a paid off mortgage, you still have expenses like taxes, insurance, upkeep, and all the normal things that come with owning a home. So if that home is not generating you income, it is in fact a liability. Now, especially over the last decade or so, we have seen a move towards people renting out a portion of the house or a converted barn, shed, additional dwelling unit, which is called an ADU, where it is generating them income on places such as VRBO and Airbnb. Sometimes they'll do it for long-term rentals as well to offset the costs of their mortgage. But unless it covers the total expenses of what it costs to upkeep and to pay for the regular expenses of the home, it is still a liability. So while people are thinking that this is an asset, it is actually a liability. While we didn't touch on every teachable moment of Lesson 2 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, I really wanted to discuss why financial literacy is so important, what a financial statement is, and the difference between an asset and a liability. In the description below, I'll put a link to Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad so you can further investigate and discover more of the teachable moments of Lesson 2, as well as a link to the cash flow game where you can learn and get a better and deeper understanding of what a financial statement is, as well as put in the repetitions to really understand the key concepts there. Like, subscribe, and comment below. I'm your guy Kenny B of E3 aka Kinetics, the guide to helping you be the hero to your story.